Kyle Martinez walked through the long metal hallway of the space station. His shoes made soft clicking sounds on the floor. He carried a small bag with Earth's official papers inside. Today would be another boring meeting with the alien leaders. Or so he thought. The station was huge. It floated in space around a distant planet called Kepler 442b. Ships from many different worlds came here to talk and trade. Kyle had been Earth's voice here for 3 years now. He knew every corner of this place, but something felt different today. The air seemed thick with worry. Alien guards stood at every door. Their weapons were bigger than usual. Kyle noticed more warships outside the station's windows than he had ever seen before. Captain Lisa Brooks stood on the bridge of her ship, the USS Defender. She looked out at the space around them. Too many alien ships were gathering. Way too many. Her ship was one of only 12 Earth vessels in this part of space. Each alien fleet had hundreds of ships. Lisa pressed a button on her chair. Communications. Get me Admiral Thompson on Earth. Priority 1. The young officer at the communications desk worked quickly. Connection established, Captain. Admiral Frank Thompson's face appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been protecting Earth's interests in space for 20 years. What's your report, Captain Brooks? Thompson asked. Sir, I count over 2,000 alien warships in this system. That's 10 times more than usual. Something big is happening, Lisa said. Thompson nodded slowly. Keep watching. Record everything. But stay ready to leave fast if I give the order. Lisa had served under Thompson for 8 years. She knew that look in his eyes. He was worried about something he could not talk about over open channels. In the main meeting room of the station. Kyle took his usual seat. The room was round with a high ceiling. Each major species had their own section. The humans always sat in the smallest area because Earth only had one voice here. Across from Kyle sat the 3 most powerful leaders in this part of the galaxy. War Prime Clakthara of the Vex High looked like a giant insect. His black shell reflected the lights in the room. His 4 arms each held a different weapon. The Vex High were known for their love of fighting. Next to him was High Crystallarch Velanoth of the Zephyrians. She looked like a living diamond, clear and sharp. Light seemed to dance inside her body. The Zephyrians were the smartest species anyone knew about. They built the best technology. The 3rd leader was Deep Singer Aikchener of the Maltar. He lived in a tank filled with blue water. His tentacles moved constantly as he spoke through a machine that turned his thoughts into words. The Moltar controlled most of the trade routes between star systems. Kyle had worked with these 3 for years. They usually argued about small things like shipping rights or mining claims, but today felt different. They all stared at him with what looked like anger. War Prime Clakthara stood up. His weapons clicked against his shell as he moved. When he spoke, his voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. Human Martinez, he said, your species has become a problem. Kyle kept his face calm, but his heart started beating faster. What kind of problem, War Prime? You spread too fast. You take too much. You ask too many questions about things that do not concern you, Clakthara said. High Crystallarch Velanoth's light grew brighter as she spoke. We have watched your kind for 50 of your years. You build ships, you explore. You make colonies on worlds that were empty. But you do not ask permission first. Deep Singer Aikchener's tentacles moved in angry patterns. His machine voice was cold and flat. The 3 great species have decided Earth must stop growing. Your colonies must accept our control. Your ships must follow our rules. Kyle felt a chill run down his back. This was not a negotiation. This was a demand. And if Earth chooses not to accept these terms, all 3 alien leaders looked at each other. Kyle could see they had planned this moment carefully. Then we will make Earth accept, War Prime Clakthara said. We give you 30, of your days to agree. After that, we will bring peace to your worlds ourselves. Kyle knew what that meant. The aliens were threatening war. But they thought it would be easy. They had studied Earth's ships for years. They knew humans only have light weapons and small fleets. They thought Earth was weak. I will take your message. To my government, Kyle said carefully. Good. High Crystal Arch Velinoth said. Tell them this choice is final. We have more ships than your species has ever built. We have weapons your people cannot imagine. This will not be a fight. It will be a quick lesson. The meeting ended quickly after that. Kyle walked back to his quarters feeling sick to his stomach. He had to get word to Earth immediately. But he also had to be careful. The aliens were watching everything now. Captain Lisa Brooks received new orders 2 hours later. They came through Earth's most secret communication system. Admiral Thompson's message was short and clear. All Earth vessels return home immediately. Tell no one why. Project Leviathan is now active. Lisa had never heard of Project Leviathan, but she knew Admiral Thompson well enough to follow orders without questions. She called her crew together. We're going home, she announced. Full speed, no delays. Her first officer, Commander Jake Miller, looked confused. Captain, what about our patrol schedule? We're supposed to be here for another month. Plans changed, Lisa said. Get us moving now. As the USS Defender and Earth's other ships left the alien station, Kyle sent his own message to Earth. He used words that sounded normal, but had special meanings that only Earth's leaders would understand. Trade negotiations have failed, he wrote. Local partners are demanding exclusive rights to all human business interests. They claim they have enough resources to enforce their position. Recommend immediate consultation with Home Office. Admiral Thompson received both messages. At the same time, he sat in his office deep inside Earth Space Defense Command. The walls were covered with screens showing every human ship and base in space. Most people thought this was all Earth had for protection. They were wrong. Thompson pressed a button. On his desk, a hidden door opened in the wall behind him. Inside was another room filled with different screens. These showed things that no alien had ever seen. Ships that were still being built in secret. Weapons that had been tested where no one could watch. Plans that had been made for exactly this situation. He picked up a secure phone that connected directly to the President of Earth. Madam President, he said when she answered, the aliens have made their move. We have 30 days. President Janet Walsh had been expecting this call for months. Are we ready, Admiral? We've been ready for 20 years, Thompson said. It's time to show them what humans really are. In space, the alien fleets continued to gather. They were confident and excited. War Prime Clake Thara had promised his people an easy victory. High Crystal Arch Velinoth had calculated that human resistance would last less than 1 day. Deep Singer Akshaner had already planned how to divide Earths. Colonies among the 3 species. They all believed the same thing. Humans were weak. Humans were soft. Humans had never fought a real war in space. Soon they would learn how wrong they were. But for now, Earth's ships flew home through the darkness between stars. Kyle Martinez prepared to leave the alien station under escort. And Admiral Thompson began sending coded messages to secret bases that the aliens did not know existed. The countdown to war had begun. And Earth was far more ready than anyone could imagine. Admiral Frank Thompson walked into the secure meeting room deep beneath Earth's capital city. The room had no windows and thick walls that blocked all signals from getting in or out. President Janet Walsh was already there, sitting at a long table with the military leaders from every branch of Earth's forces. Thompson placed a data pad on the table. The alien ultimatum was displayed on the wall screen for everyone to see. 30 days to surrender or face destruction. The words seemed to glow with threat. They think this will be easy, Thompson said. They believe we only have the ships they've seen, small exploration vessels. Light patrol craft. They think we're defenseless. General Patricia Stone, head of Earth's ground forces, shook her head. Our intelligence reports show they're moving over 5,000 ships. That's the largest fleet anyone has seen in 200 years. President Walsh looked tired but determined. She had been preparing for this moment since taking office 5 years ago. Admiral, how long before they reach Earth? 28 days. If they come directly, Thompson replied. But they won't. They'll want to capture our outer colonies first. Make examples. Show the galaxy that resistance is useless. The president stood up and walked to the wall screen. She touched it, and the display changed. Now it showed something different. Ships that looked nothing like the small vessels the aliens knew about. These were massive, dark, and covered with weapons. Then it's time, she said quietly. Far from Earth, behind the ice and rocks of Neptune's largest moon, something stirred in the darkness of space. Colonel Ryan Davis stood in the control center of Titan Base, watching screens that showed the most secret project in human history. The base was huge, carved out of rock and ice over 50 years of careful work. No alien probe had ever found it. No signal had ever leaked from its hidden chambers. And inside those chambers, humanity had been building something incredible. 3 massive shapes hung in the construction bays. Each one was over 3 kilometers long. They looked like metal mountains floating in space. Their hulls were black as the void between stars. Weapons covered every surface. These were not exploration ships or patrol craft. These were warships. Real warships. Built for one purpose only. Status report, Colonel Davis said to his team. Lieutenant Amy Foster checked her readings. USS Vengeance is at 98% completion. All weapon systems online. Shields at full power. USS Retribution is ready for launch, reported Commander Jake Miller. Crew has finished all training programs. USS Sovereign shows green across all systems, added Captain Bob Richardson. Admiral Thompson can take command whenever he's ready. Davis smiled. For 20 years he had worked on this project. 20 years of secret construction. 20 years of preparing for the day when Earth would need to show its real strength. These 3 ships were just the beginning. Hidden bases throughout. The solar system held dozens more. Each one was designed using technology that Earth had found in ancient wrecks scattered through space. Technology that no living alien race possessed anymore. The aliens thought they knew about human capabilities. They were about to learn how wrong they were. On Earth, Captain Lisa Brooks received new orders that surprised her. Instead of staying on her small patrol ship, she was being transferred. The orders were signed by Admiral Thompson himself and marked with the highest security codes. Report to Titan Base immediately, the orders read. Bring only personal items. Tell no one of your destination. Lisa had never heard of Titan Base, but she followed orders. A small transport ship picked her up from Earth's main military station. The pilot refused to answer any of her questions about where they were going. The trip took 2 days. When they finally arrived, Lisa could not believe what she saw. The base was enormous, built into the moon itself. Ships moved in and out of hidden openings in the rock. But these were not the ships she knew. These were monsters. Colonel Davis met her at the airlock. Welcome to the real Earth Defense Force, Captain Brooks. Lisa stared through the observation windows at the nearest warship. It was bigger than some space stations she had visited. What is this place? This is where we've been preparing for war, Davis said. Real war. Not the small conflicts the aliens remember from their history books. War the way humans understand it. He led her through corridors filled with activity. Thousands of people worked here. Engineers, weapons specialists, pilots, and soldiers. All of them had been secretly selected over many years. All of them had been training for this moment. The Aliens study our exploration ships, Davis explained as they walked. They watch our patrol vessels. They think that's all we have. They don't understand that we've been hiding our real military for 50 years. They entered a briefing room where dozens of other officers waited. Lisa recognized some faces. These were the best pilots and commanders from Earth's fleet. But she had thought they were all on different assignments across the galaxy. Ladies and gentlemen, Davis announced, Project Leviathan is now active. In 26 days, the Alien Alliance will attack Earth. They expect to find a weak species with primitive ships. Instead, they're going to discover what humans are really capable of. He activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed the 3 completed dreadnoughts in perfect detail. Their weapons, their armor, their incredible size became clear to everyone watching. Each of these ships can fight an entire alien fleet by itself, Davis continued. But we're not sending just one. We're sending all 3, plus support vessels that the aliens have never seen before. Captain Amy Foster raised her hand. Sir, what about the colonies? Won't the aliens attack them first? They will, Davis admitted, and that's part of our plan. Let them think they're winning. Let them believe Earth is helpless while they capture empty worlds. Then, when they come for the home system, we'll show them the truth. Meanwhile, in space near the Alien Council Station, the 3 great fleets continued to gather. War Prime Clakthara stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching thousands of ships take their positions. His species had conquered 12 worlds in the past century. This would be lucky number 13. How many human ships do our scouts report? He asked his second-in-command. Fewer than 200 in their entire fleet, came the reply. Most are small craft suitable only for exploration and light patrol work. Clakthara clicked his mandibles together in satisfaction. And how many ships do we have? Over 5,000 War Prime. Plus support vessels and supply ships. The numbers made Clakthara happy. This would not be a battle. This would be an extermination. The humans would surrender immediately when they saw the size of the alien force. If they didn't, the fighting would last maybe an hour. High Crystal Arch Velanoth ran similar calculations on her crystalline ship. Her people were not warriors like the Vex High, but they were experts at analyzing data. Every simulation showed the same result. Human resistance would collapse in minutes. Their technology is at least 50 years behind ours, she told her science. Council, their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Their ships are too slow to escape our pursuit. This will be over quickly. Deep Singer Ekshanner agreed with his allies from his water-filled command chamber. The Moltar had fought wars before. They knew how to crush weaker species efficiently. We will take their colonies first, he decided. Make examples. Show them that resistance only brings more pain. Then they will beg us to accept their surrender. All 3 species made the same mistake. They believed their own intelligence reports. They trusted what they could see. They never imagined that a species might hide its true strength for decades while appearing weak and harmless. Back on Earth, President Walsh addressed her military leaders one final time before the operation began. The aliens think we're soft. Because we prefer negotiation to violence, she said. They think we're weak because we try to avoid conflict. They don't understand that humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know how to do this better than any species in the galaxy, Admiral Thompson nodded. The dreadnoughts are ready. The crews are trained. The weapons are loaded. When they come for Earth, they'll find out what human warfare really looks like. The countdown continued. 24 days until the alien ultimatum expired. 24 days until the galaxy learned the truth about humanity. In the hidden bases. Final preparations began. Weapons were charged. Shields were tested. Crews ran through combat drills one last time. Earth appeared helpless to the watching aliens. But appearances, as they were about to discover, could be very deceiving. The 30 days had passed. Deep Singer Akshanur floated in his command tank aboard the massive Moltar flagship. Around him, the largest fleet in galactic history spread across space like a metal ocean. 5,000 warships from 3 different species, all pointed toward one small blue planet. "Begin the approach," he commanded through his translation device. "Broadcast surrender demands on all human frequencies." War Prime Klekthara stood on his own bridge, watching the human solar system grow larger on his screens. His 4 arms moved excitedly over his weapons controls. This would be the easiest conquest in Vexi history. "Sensors show minimal human activity," his tactical officer reported. "A few patrol ships near the outer planets, nothing that could threaten us." "Perfect." Klekthara clicked. "They know they cannot fight us. They will surrender before we fire a single shot." High Crystal Arch Velinoth calculated the odds one more time from her crystal ship. The numbers were still the same. Human defeat was mathematically certain. Their small fleet could not possibly stand against such overwhelming force. The alien armada moved into Earth's solar system like a slow tide of metal and death. They took their time, wanting humans to see their power and despair. They expected panic. They expected immediate surrender. They got something else entirely. Admiral Frank Thompson stood on the bridge of the USS Sovereign, hidden in the shadow of Neptune's largest moon. Through the observation windows, he could see the other 2 dreadnoughts preparing for battle. The USS Vengeance, commanded by Captain Amy Foster, and the USS Retribution, under Captain Bob Richardson. "Alien fleet has entered the outer system," reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Jake Miller. "They're broadcasting surrender demands." Thompson smiled coldly. "Let them broadcast. It's time to show them what they're really dealing with." He activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Thompson. Execute Operation Thunderstrike. Show them what human warfare looks like." The 3 dreadnoughts powered up their engines for the first time in combat. Energy readings that had been hidden for 50 years suddenly blazed across alien sensors. The massive ships emerged from behind Neptune like dark gods of war. On the Moltar flagship, alarm sounds filled the command center. Deep Singer Akshanur's tentacles writhed in confusion as his officers shouted reports. "Massive energy signatures detected near Neptune," his sensor operator called out. 3 extremely large vessels approaching at high speed. "How large?" Akshanur demanded. "Each one is over 3 kilometers long, Deep Singer. They're bigger than our entire command group." Akshanur felt fear creep through his mind. This was not in any of their intelligence reports. Humans were not supposed to have ships like this. War Prime Klekthara received similar reports on his bridge. His mandibles clicked together nervously as he stared at the tactical display. 3 enormous ships were racing toward his fleet at incredible speed. "What are those things?" he asked his science officer. "Unknown, War Prime. Our databases have no record of human vessels this size. Their energy output is beyond anything we've measured from Earth ships." High Crystal Arch Velinoth ran rapid calculations. As the mystery ships approached, the numbers made no sense. These vessels were generating more power than entire space stations. Their mass readings suggested armor thicker than anything her people had ever built. "This is impossible," she said to her Crystal Council. "Humans do not possess this technology." But the sensors did not lie. 3 massive warships were bearing down on the alien fleet, and they were moving faster than anything that Psi should be able to move. Admiral Thompson opened a communication channel to the entire alien armada. His voice was calm and cold when he spoke. "Alien fleets, this is Admiral Thompson of the Earth Defense Force. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from this system or face the consequences." War Prime Klekthara laughed when he heard the message. 30 seconds? One human admiral threatens 5,000 ships with 3 vessels. The mammals have gone insane. He opened his own communication channel. Human admiral, you are greatly outnumbered. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Thompson's reply was simple. Your 30 seconds are up. The USS Vengeance opened fire first. Captain Amy Foster had trained for this moment her entire career. The ship's main weapons activated with a sound like thunder in space. Particle beams brighter than small suns reached out across the void. The first alien ships to be hit simply disappeared. The advanced weapons cut through their shields and armor like paper. Explosions lit up the darkness as entire squadrons were destroyed in seconds. Impossible, Deep Singer Ekshanner whispered as he watched a dozen of his ships vanish in the first volley. The USS Retribution joined the attack. Captain Bob Richardson targeted the alien command ships with surgical precision. His quantum torpedoes found their marks with deadly accuracy. Each explosion took out not just one ship, but entire formations. The alien fleet tried to respond, but their weapons were designed to fight ships their own size. The Dreadnoughts' shields absorbed the alien fire without even flickering. Thousands of shots hit the human ships and did absolutely nothing. Their defenses are impenetrable, High Crystal Arch Velanoth reported to her allies. Our weapons cannot damage them. War Prime Clakthara refused to believe what he was seeing. All ships concentrate fire on the lead vessel. Overwhelm their shields with numbers. 2,000 alien ships turned their weapons on the USS Sovereign. The space around Admiral Thompson's ship became a storm of energy beams and explosions. But when the barrage ended, the Dreadnought was completely undamaged. Is that all? Thompson asked over the open channel. Now let me show you what real firepower looks like. The USS Sovereign's main guns fired for the first time. The gravitational pulse cannons created waves of twisted spacetime that crushed everything in their path. Entire sections of the alien fleet were compressed into metal dust in an instant. Captain Foster led the USS Vengeance in a charge straight through the center of the alien formation. Her ship's weapons fired continuously, cutting a path of destruction through the enemy ranks. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before exploded like toys. The aliens tried to surround the human vessels, using tactics that had worked against other enemies. But the Dreadnoughts were designed to fight in all directions at once. Their weapons could target hundreds of ships simultaneously. Captain Richardson brought the USS Retribution around the alien fleet's flank. His surprise attack caught 3 entire battle groups off guard. The quantum torpedoes created chain reactions that spread from ship to ship like deadly fire. We need to retreat, Deep Singer Ekshanner told his allies. We cannot fight these monsters. The Vex High do not retreat. War Prime Clakthara snarled back, but even as he spoke, more of his ships were dying. The humans were not just winning. They were destroying the alien fleet with ease. High Crystal Arch Velanoth watched her calculations crumble as the battle turned into a massacre. Every assumption about human capabilities had been wrong. These were not the primitive vessels her scouts had reported. These were weapons of war beyond anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. Admiral Thompson coordinated the attack from his command center. The 3 Dreadnoughts moved like dancers in a deadly ballet, each one supporting the others. Their crews worked with precision that came from years of secret training. Enemy fleet is breaking apart, Lieutenant Miller reported. They're trying to scatter. Don't let them, Thompson ordered. I want the galaxy to know what happens when someone threatens Earth. The battle had lasted less than 4 hours, but it felt like an eternity to the surviving aliens. Half their fleet was gone. The other half was running in panic, abandoning their formation and their mission. War Prime Clakthara finally gave the order he had never expected to give. All Vex High ships withdraw immediately, full retreat. Deep Singer Ekshanner was already fleeing with the remains of his fleet. The proud Moltar Armada had been reduced to scattered survivors running for their lives. "Hi." Krystalarch Velenov transmitted a final message before her retreat. How did you hide this from us?" Admiral Thompson's answer was broadcast across all frequencies for the entire galaxy to hear. "You studied our exploration ships and thought that was all we had. You forgot that humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know how to build weapons, we know how to use them, and we know how to hide them until we need them." The alien survivors fled toward the edge of the solar system, leaving behind wreckage and the bodies of their dead. The 3 dreadnoughts did not pursue. They had made their point. Earth was not helpless. Earth was not defenseless. And anyone who threatened humanity would face the same fate as the broken alien fleet now running in terror through the darkness of space. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In every star system, on every world, beings who had never heard of Earth before suddenly knew the name. The impossible had happened. The greatest military force in known space had been destroyed by 3 ships from a species most had considered weak and primitive. High Krystalarch Velenov sat in her crystal chamber on the Zephorian homeworld, surrounded by the surviving members of her council. The room that once glowed with confidence now felt dim and cold. Half of her fleet was gone. The other half had limped home carrying tailies of human weapons that defied understanding. "We must call an emergency session," said her chief advisor, his crystal form flickering with worry. "The other species need to know what really happened at Earth." Velenov's light pulsed weakly. "What really happened is that we were fools. We believed our own lies about human weakness. Now thousands of our people are dead because we could not see the truth." On the HFY War world, chaos ruled the great hive cities. War Prime Thara had returned in disgrace, his once mighty fleet reduced to scattered survivors. The warrior caste demanded answers. How had the humans hidden such power? How had their intelligence been so completely wrong? Young HFY warriors who had dreamed of glorious battle against weak humans now trembled at the thought of facing Earth's dreadnoughts. The videos from the battle showed alien ships simply vanishing under human weapons fire. No shields, no armor, no hope. The humans were playing a game, Thara admitted to his war council. "For 50 years they showed us only their smallest ships. They let us think we knew their capabilities. They made us believe conquest would be easy." The Moltar suffered the worst losses of all. Deep Singer X Shanner had lost over half his species. Fleet in the failed attack. The aquatic beings on their water world wept tears that turned their oceans salty with grief. But it was not just the military defeat that hurt them. It was the knowledge that they had been completely outplayed. The humans had let them see exactly what they wanted them to see. Nothing more. Meanwhile on Earth, President Janet Walsh stood before the Global Assembly and the galaxy's media. Behind her, holographic displays showed the wreckage of the alien fleet floating in space near Neptune. The images were stark proof of what human technology could accomplish when fully unleashed. For decades, Earth has followed a policy of peaceful exploration and careful diplomacy, she began. "We showed the galaxy our science ships, our exploration vessels, our tradecraft. We hoped that by appearing non-threatening, we could avoid the conflicts that have plagued other species." She paused, letting her words sink in across countless worlds. "But we never forgot that peace must sometimes be defended with strength. While we sent out explorers and diplomats, we also prepared for the day when someone might threaten our survival. That day came when 3 alien species demanded our surrender and attacked our home." The president gestured to the displays behind her. "These are our dreadnoughts, ships we hoped never to use, weapons we prayed would never be needed. But when faced with extinction, humanity showed what we are truly capable of." Admiral Frank Thompson stood beside her as she continued. "Admiral Thompson will now explain our new policy regarding galactic security." Thompson stepped forward, his uniform crisp and his voice clear. Effective immediately, Earth claims responsibility for maintaining peace in this region of the galaxy. Any species that threatens another will face the same fate as the fleets that attacked our home. Dr. Patricia Green, Earth's top alien expert, had spent the past week analyzing intercepted communications from the 3 defeated species. What she found was both encouraging and troubling. The alien populations are in chaos, she reported to the military leadership. They trusted their leaders to bring them easy victory and glory. Instead, they got humiliation and massive casualties. She pulled up intercepts from the Vex-High homeworld. The warrior caste is divided. Some want to prepare for revenge against Earth. Others want new leaders who will not start wars they cannot win. The Zephyrian intercepts told a similar story. Their science council is demanding to know how their intelligence could have been so wrong. They want to study human technology, but they're also afraid of what else we might be hiding. The Moltar. Communications were the most desperate. They're pulling back from all frontier territories. Some of their colonies are declaring independence rather than risk being caught in another war with Earth. Captain Amy Foster had been promoted to admiral after the battle. She now commanded the USS Vengeance and a growing fleet of dreadnoughts. As they established patrol routes throughout local space, her first mission was to visit the homeworlds of the 3 species that had attacked Earth, not to conquer them, not to destroy them, but to make sure they understood the new reality. The USS Vengeance arrived at the edge of the Vex-High system with a small escort of other dreadnoughts. Foster did not hide their approach. She wanted the insects to see them coming. She wanted them to feel the fear that came with facing superior force. "This is Admiral Foster of the Earth Defense Force," she broadcast on all Vex-High frequencies. "I am here to deliver a message from Earth." The Vex-High military scrambled their remaining ships, but they kept their distance. No one wanted to test whether human mercy had limits. "Your leaders chose war," Foster continued. "Earth chose to end that war decisively. We do not seek conquest or revenge. But we will not tolerate future aggression from any species. Govern yourselves accordingly." The message was simple but clear. Earth was now the dominant military power in this part of the galaxy. The old balance was broken forever. Colonel Ryan Davis worked around the clock at the Titan shipyards, overseeing construction of even more dreadnoughts. The secret was out now, so there was no need to hide the massive construction effort. Earth intended to build a fleet large enough to patrol the entire local galactic region. "How many more ships can we complete this year?" he asked his chief engineer. 20 dreadnoughts, sir. Plus 50 smaller warships and 100 support vessels," came the reply. Davis nodded. "Not enough. Double the construction rate. If we're going to be the galaxy's peacekeepers, we need the ships to do the job properly." On distant worlds, alien civilians watched the broadcast from Earth with mixtures of fear and hope. The 3 great powers that had ruled through intimidation and force were broken. But what would replace them? Some species that had been bullied and oppressed for generations began to speak of freedom. If Earth could stand up to the Vex-High, Zephyrians and Moltar, perhaps smaller species could also find protection under human strength. Captain Bob Richardson commanded the USS Retribution as it patrolled the space lanes that had once been controlled by alien pirates and raiders. Word of Earth's military power had spread quickly through the criminal underworld. Most of the pirates had simply disappeared, fleeing to distant systems rather than risk encountering human dreadnoughts. "Sir, we're receiving a distress call," his communications officer reported. "From who?" "A Deltan merchant convoy. They're under attack by Vex-High raiders about 6 hours away." Richardson smiled grimly. This would be a perfect opportunity to reinforce Earth's new message. Set course to intercept. Maximum speed. The USS Retribution arrived to find 5 Vex-High ships attacking a group of unarmed traders. The insects had become desperate after their military defeat, turning to piracy to restore their pride. "Vex High vessels, this is Captain Richardson of Earth Defense Force," he broadcast. "Release the merchant ships and surrender immediately." The lead Vex High ship responded with weapons fire, apparently believing they could intimidate a single human vessel. They learned their mistake within seconds as the USS Retribution's quantum torpedoes reduced their entire raiding force to glowing debris. The merchant convoy sent grateful thanks to Earth as they continued their journey safely. But more importantly, news of the incident spread throughout the galaxy. Earth's protection was real, and it was effective. President Walsh received daily reports of similar encounters. Human ships were being welcomed as protectors by species that had lived in fear for generations. The galaxy was learning that Earth's strength came with responsibility. The old order was dead. In its place, a new age was beginning. An age where the strongest species protected the weakest instead of preying on them. The three alien powers that had once ruled through fear now cowered in their home systems, afraid to venture far from their own worlds. They had awakened something they could not control or defeat. They had awakened humanity's true nature. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Sol. The galaxy looked very different now. Ambassador Kyle Martinez walked through the corridors of the same space station where the aliens had delivered their ultimatum. But everything had changed. Human. Security guards stood at every entrance. Earth flags hung beside alien symbols. The station that had once been a symbol of alien power now operated under human protection. Kyle carried himself differently too. No longer was he the representative of a weak species begging for scraps. Now he spoke for the strongest military force the galaxy had ever seen. In the main meeting chamber, Kyle took his seat at the head of the council table. The same 3 alien leaders sat across from him, but their positions had reversed completely. They waited for him to speak first. They asked permission before making suggestions. They had learned what happened to those who challenged Earth. War Prime Cleek Thara looked much smaller than before. Half his species' military was gone, destroyed. In the failed attack on Earth, the surviving Vex High warriors no longer spoke of conquest and glory. Instead, they focused on rebuilding their shattered fleets and avoiding human attention. "The Vex High wish to propose new trade agreements," Cleek Thara said carefully. "We offer mining rights on 12 worlds in exchange for Earth's protection of our merchant ships." Kyle nodded. "Earth will consider your proposal. But remember, protection comes with conditions. No more raiding, no more attacking weaker species. If we catch Vex High ships preying on others, the consequences will be severe." High Crystal Arch Velenoth flickered nervously as she spoke. "The Zephyrian Council has completed our analysis of the human defense requirements. We can provide advanced sensor technology for your patrol ships. In return, we request inclusion in Earth's protection zone." "Granted," Kyle replied. "Your technology will help us keep the peace more effectively." Deep Singer. Akshanar's tentacles moved slowly in his water tank. The proud Moltar had suffered the worst losses in the battle. Many of their colonies had declared independence rather than remain part of a defeated empire. "The Moltar Collective wishes to join the Earth Defense Alliance formally," he said. Through his translator, "We offer our remaining fleets to serve under human command." Kyle smiled. This was the moment he had been waiting for. "Welcome to the Alliance, Deep Singer. Your ships will serve alongside ours to protect all species in this region." Far from the station, Admiral Amy Foster stood on the bridge of the USS Vengeance as it led a patrol fleet through the Outer Rim territories. These regions had once been lawless zones where pirates and slavers operated freely. Now human dreadnoughts ensured that merchant ships could travel safely. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority signal from Earth Command," her communications officer reported. Admiral Thompson's face appeared on the main screen. Amy, we have a situation developing in the Tau Ceti system. New alien contact. Species we've never encountered before. Foster felt a familiar tension. First contact with unknown aliens could go many different ways. What do we know about them? They call themselves the Hegemony. Showed up 3 days ago with a large fleet and started demanding tribute from the local colonies. Same old story, submit or be destroyed. Foster's expression hardened. How large is their fleet? About 800 ships. They seem to think that makes them unstoppable. Thompson's smile was cold. Time to educate another species about the new galactic order. The USS Vengeance and her escort group changed course for Tau Ceti. Word spread quickly through the fleets. Ships, another alien species, needed to learn about human strength. The crews prepared for battle with calm efficiency. In the Tau Ceti system, Hegemon Commander Vextar stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the primitive colonies on the planets. Below, his species had conquered dozens of systems using fear and overwhelming numbers. These humans would be no different. Local inhabitants refused to pay tribute, his tactical officer reported. They claimed protection from something called the Earth Defense Force. Vextar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Earth? Never heard of it. Probably some minor species pretending to be powerful. Continue bombardment preparations. His fleet of 800 warships moved into attack formation around the human colonies. The Hegemony had used this same tactic many times before. Threaten civilians until their governments surrendered. It always worked. 3 hours later, massive energy signatures appeared at the edge of the system. Vextar watched his sensors with growing confusion as 12 enormous ships dropped out of hyperspace. Each one was larger than anything in his fleet. Unknown vessels, this is Hegemon Commander Vextar, he broadcast. You are interfering in Hegemony territory. Withdraw immediately or face destruction. The response came from Admiral Foster aboard the USS Vengeance. Hegemony vessels, this is Admiral Foster of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked colonies under our protection. You have 30 seconds to withdraw or face the consequences. Vextar stared at his tactical display. 12 ships against 800. Either these humans were insane, or they had no idea how badly outnumbered they were. Open fire on the Lid human vessel, he ordered. Show them what happens to those who challenge the Hegemony. 200 alien ships concentrated their weapons on the USS Vengeance. Space lit up with energy beams and missile explosions. When the barrage ended, Vextar expected to see wreckage floating in space. Instead, the human dreadnought was completely undamaged. Impossible, Vextar whispered. Admiral Foster's voice came over the communication channel, calm and cold. Your turn. The USS Vengeance opened fire with all weapons. Particle beams cut through Hegemony ships like they were made of paper. Quantum torpedoes created chain explosions that spread through entire formations. In the first minute of combat, 50 alien ships were destroyed. The other human dreadnoughts joined the attack. Their weapons systems had been improved since the battle with the three-species alliance. Each ship could now engage dozens of targets simultaneously while their shields absorbed enemy fire without effort. Vextar watched his fleet die around him. Ships that had conquered star systems were being destroyed by weapons he could not understand. The humans were not just winning. They were demonstrating complete technological superiority. All ships retreat immediately, he finally ordered. Full withdrawal. But Admiral Foster had different plans. No one attacks Earth colonies and then just leaves, she announced. Consider this a lesson for your entire species. The human fleet pursued the fleeing Hegemony ships, destroying them methodically. By the time the battle ended, only a handful of alien vessels remained to carry news of their defeat back to their homeworld. Captain Bob Richardson commanded the USS Retribution as part of Foster's fleet. After the battle, he led a squadron to the Hegemony homeworld itself. Not to attack it, but to deliver the same message that Earth had given to other aggressive species. "This is Captain Richardson of Earth Defense Force," he broadcast to the entire hegemony government. "Your fleet attacked human colonies. That fleet no longer exists. Any future aggression against species under Earth's protection will result in similar consequences." The hegemony leaders, who had never faced defeat before, suddenly found themselves dealing with a completely new reality. Their massive military advantage had been erased in a single battle by a species they had never even heard of. Dr. Patricia Green analyzed the aftermath from her office on Earth. "The pattern is repeating," she told President Walsh during their weekly briefing. "Aggressive species challenge us, get defeated decisively, then either join our alliance or retreat to their home systems." President Walsh nodded. "How many species are now part of the protection network?" 47 so far, Green replied. "Most are smaller civilizations that were being bullied by the major powers. They're grateful for protection and happy to contribute resources to maintain the peace." The Terra Accords had become the foundation of the new galactic order. Species that accepted Earth's leadership in military matters received protection and technological assistance. Those who preferred independence were left alone, as long as they did not threaten others. Admiral Thompson stood in the command center of Jupiter Station, watching displays that showed human patrol routes throughout local space. The network was vast now, covering hundreds of star systems and protecting millions of beings from dozens of different species. "Status report," he asked his staff. "All patrol sectors report normal activity," his aide replied. "No conflicts. No piracy. No aggressive actions by any species in the past month." Thompson smiled. For the first time in galactic history, this region of space was truly at peace. Not because everyone was weak, but because everyone knew that aggression would be met with overwhelming force. Kyle Martinez returned to Earth for the first time since becoming the galaxy's most important diplomat. He stood in President Walsh's office, looking out at the city below. Ships from a dozen different worlds landed and took off from the spaceport, carrying trade goods and passengers in safety. "The aliens never understood humans," he said to the President. "They saw our diplomacy as weakness. They mistook our preference for peace as inability to fight. They never realized that the most dangerous species is one that chooses restraint, but can abandon it when necessary." President Walsh joined him at the window. "The galaxy is learning that strength,"